What's up, guys? Andre Hagel Jr. back here with another Client Ascension Student Spotlight interview here with Shaun Smith. What's up, brother?
What up?
How we doing,
Good to
man?
be
How's it going?
here.
So, yeah, happy to have you here as well, dude. I've been
Yeah.
seeing you pop up in the community quite a bit, especially in the Wins channel. And so, anytime I see that, I'm quick to invite them onto a spotlight interview like we got here because I know there's lots of learnings and things that you're doing that's working that the audience and more people can learn from and benefit from. So I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today.
Yeah, for sure. Glad to be here. Glad to be
Awesome,
here.
man.
See how I can help.
Awesome, man. So I always like to start off like, who are you and what are you currently working on? Like, what do you sell?
Yeah. So my name is Shaun Smith, and I have a Amazon brand management agency called Your Amazon Pro. And what I do is I work with Amazon sellers and e-commerce brands to launch and sell products on Amazon. I also have my own Amazon brands that I work on, but the main focus here and what I'm working on through Client Ascension is the Your Amazon Pro. So I work with brands to help them grow and make more money selling on Amazon.
That's awesome, man. So did you
Yeah.
start the agency before joining Client Ascension or like when did that all
Yeah.
unfold?
So like I've been in the internet marketing space. Like I'm, older than most of the people in Client Ascension. So like I've been in marketing for like a long time, since like 2008. And so I started
Oh,
out like all different types of direct response marketing stuff like back in the day. And then I started working on Amazon around 2015, launched a couple brands. Before I came into Client Ascension, I had one main client for like 5 years.
oh
And that
wow.
client, yeah, so like that client was really producing a lot. Like I had built that up into like multiple millions of dollars of sales from zero and had a really great revenue share deal on that. And towards the end of 2024, that deal had pretty much like fallen, it had ended, let's put it that way. And so like I was in a position where I had been comfortable with that, and now I needed to develop more clients and expand on the agency. So really like where I was at when I started Client Ascension was pretty much having come out of, I technically had an agency, but I was pretty much at zero in terms of cash flow.
Interesting. So like during those 5 years, you just didn't have too much of an ambition to like want to scale past the one client?
So I had done some other stuff during that time where I had worked with a few other clients, but for the most part, I was just like, I was making a really good money on that. And I was like raising my kids. I was chilling. I had young kids at that time, and I just wasn't really working that hard. Looking back, like it would have been good if I would have had more lead flow and like could have maxed out at that time. But yeah, it's not that I wasn't ambitious. It was just like I was happy with where I was at and it was working. And you know how sometimes when you're involved in things, like you just think it's going to go on forever, or like you don't really think about what's going to happen next.
Yep.
So, but ultimately, like, yeah, I knew the day would come where I was going to have to branch out. And that's kind of where I was at that time, like in the beginning of this year, where I was like, it's time to kick it into high gear.
I got you. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And like, so that was when you joined Client Ascension. You had one client, or did that start like did that process of kicking it back into high gear start before even Client Ascension?
So looking to expand out started before I came into Client Ascension, but I had basically moved on from that previous client. So I was in a position where I was doing like a few one-off things here and there
Hmm.
with clients and just making like a little bit of money, not much. So I had left the previous client and I was like, all right, it's time to start kicking it up. But I was trying a lot of different ideas because I had never built an agency like that, where, because I had that client for so long, and I was like, okay, what approach am I going to take? I was looking at different things like, productized service, building email lists, like just going after like referral clients, or maybe just working for one big brand. Like I was kind of exploring the options. And that's when I fell into like watching Daniel's YouTube videos, which is actually what happened. And I'll get into that part of it. But, anyways, yeah. So I was in this phase of like, okay, I'm taking on some clients. I'm just people that I know, like here and there, making some money. But I know I need to step it up, but I just need to know exactly what's the framework that I'm going to follow to build the agency.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's awesome to hear. And you mentioned a little bit about Daniel's YouTube videos. So like how did you hear about Client Ascension? And I just think it's interesting, like the moment you decided like you wanted to kick it into high gear and actually start making real efforts to build this as an agency rather than a couple of clients here and there or projects here and there. What
Yeah.
was it about like Daniel's YouTube or whatever else you came across that like where did you hear about client ascension and what about it like really spoke to you?
I found Daniel's YouTube through another YouTube video, which was totally random. Like, because I was into like YouTube videos and stuff, like learning how to do creation for YouTube videos, stuff like that. So some guy had a video, I don't even remember who it was, talking about creators doing videos in this new style where it was like, like the rant style, like what people are doing
Yeah.
now, the stuff that Daniel's doing. And it wasn't even a marketing channel. And he was like, this guy Daniel, he does these videos. You should go check him out. And so I just happened to go over to Daniel's YouTube from that video. Like I had never heard of Client Ascension. I had no idea who Daniel was, nothing about any of this stuff. I'd never sent a cold email in my life or anything. I see Daniel's video. I was like, yo, this dude, like what this dude is saying, this is legit. This is really good. That was the perfect target. And so at that time, it immediately hit me like, this is definitely what he's saying is the way I need to approach this agency. Because in my mind, the one thing I was always trying to figure out is, okay, I'm going to build this agency. I'm in some Amazon mastermind, stuff like that. But how am I going to generate leads? How am I going to get leads for this thing? And what I was thinking is, oh, I'm going to build a YouTube channel and stuff, but that's just going to take forever. So
Yeah.
what Daniel was saying, I just kind of could feel it. I was like, this is great. So then I immediately signed up for a call with Client Ascension. Basically, I watched this video within the first like 5 hours or whatever, right? Immediately I signed up for the call. And so I got on the call and then I just started the process from there. It was like a direct hit, Daniel's message. And
Yeah, it just clicked right away for you that this is something
exactly.
that you needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something you hadn't done before as well. And so like having Daniel's like authoritative approach of like I've been doing this for this long and these are all the results I've generated in doing it. That's what really spoke to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. And my favorite question to ask is like cuz I've been through courses and coaching programs and I've followed guys like Daniel on YouTube before and their videos get you all amped up and hyped up and like set on this new direction that you think is like the next best thing since sliced bread or whatever. And then you get into the program and it's just like not at all what you thought it would be. But obviously
Hmm.
we're sitting here a couple months into client ascension. It's not the case. And so what was your experience when you first joined the program compared to like what you thought it would be?
What I hoped it would be and what I thought it would be is what it turned out to be. Right. So like, because the big thing about, so there's Daniel's message, right? But the thing that really spoke to me about what Client Ascension had was the structure around how to get from where I was to where I wanted to be. So it was like what I wanted there to be was structure and guidance and accountability. Because having come from the marketing background, like I know the steps I need to do. I know what I need. I know I need to, generate leads. I know I need to have a funnel, this and that. But what I needed is like someone to help me through it. So getting into the program and like what it ended up being was like, this is the thing for me has been the greatest aspect of it, where it was like the structure and the support was there for me to help me get through all of the challenging steps and walk me through the process. So ultimately, what I thought and hoped it would be something like that. And that's what it turned out to be and more, right? So I think that answers the question you asked, but
Yeah, awesome, bro. Yeah, I guess my follow-up question to that would be like when you joined the program, like what were some of the things you did early on? Like what were some of the steps you took or some of the strategies or things that we taught that you implemented that you started to see, an impact from?
yeah, I mean, just like following the structure from the very beginning, like exactly the way you guys have it laid out. Like I just started ripping into the content in the Kajabi, like everything in the exact way that you guys said to do it. I did it, and I looked at it like I was back into the college course. I'm gonna have to put in a few months of massive amount of learning here. And I mean, what I immediately did was implemented, started developing the offer, the script, watching Daniel's offer videos, coming up with my VSL, filming the VSL, developing my landing page, built the landing page, got all my cold emails set up. Like it was all done within the first, I mean, everything was ready to go within like the first 60 days. I mean, realistically, like I think I moved as fast as I humanly possibly could have. I was pushing it pretty hard, but I mean, I did. I just implemented everything, and at this point, I have everything more or less implemented. I just need to, kind of keep the flow moving. But yeah,
keep the system running. Yeah, that's the cool thing too. It's like a lot of what you mentioned, like VSL landing page, offer, like you've been in business long enough to know what all of these things are. So like on the surface level, it seems like, oh, you could have just done these things on your own, or you already knew you needed to do those things. But the way we approach a VSL is so much different than anyone else, or the way we approach creating an offer, the way Daniel teaches about offers is different than anyone else. And it sounds like that attention to detail and like the specific way to do it, and then you having access to like the coaching and like the accountability to check that you did it the way that we teach is really what like unlocked that next level of growth for you.
Yeah, it's the structure. Of course, the attention to detail is there with what you guys have put together inside of the program. Definitely. Like the amount of effort that you guys have done to make that all come together is definitely commendable. I'm really impressed at what you guys have been able to do as a team. And also just like the results that have come out of it. Like, yeah, I could have done it on my own. I literally know every step of the process, aside from like having never done cold email, but I mean, that's just could have figured that out one way or the other. But like having that success coach and having somebody who's like, yo, okay, like do this and then do that. And then having a person who, like, for example, like, okay, get your offer approved. Just get it approved. Because you know, when you're coming up with concepts or you're trying to build a business, so many ideas are in your head. And some of them are good, some of them are bad, but sometimes it's hard to have someone that's like can tell you exactly, yes, this is good, do it, move forward, go to the next thing now. You know, okay, yes, your VSL is good. Okay, move to the next thing. Oh, your landing page is good. Okay, move to the, you know what I'm saying? Like every step you guys have it like boom, boom, boom laid out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to hear that, dude. That's by design. It's something we've been working on for the last 2 or 3 years. And I love how you said the way you approached the program was like if you were back in university, because that's the exact way the program was designed, is based on like universities and how people learn in like a classroom setting. And the best results I've seen students get, they all have the same thing to say, which is like I approached it like university, where I dove deep into all of the content, learned everything there was to learn, and then did exactly what they said, like actually implementing the exact way we teach them or show them to implement. And so it's like no secret that when you join a program like Client Ascension, the way to get results is to like be a sponge in terms of learning everything there is to learn, and then doing everything you just learned about the exact way you learned about it, and then using the reinforcements of like the coaches and the review system to make sure that you're doing things correctly, which is really cool. What were some of the results you started to see? Because for me, like I'm results driven, so like if I do something, I'm kind of like reconfirmed that I'm on the right path or doing the right things as results start to show up for me. So like what was that like for you early on in the program, or once you started to like launch cold email campaigns or put the new VSL on the website and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I mean, results, they were as quick as I wanted them to be, but the effort to get to those results was like it definitely took a lot. Like I definitely had to follow a lot of stuff, go through
Oh
it.
yeah.
But yeah, there's no like getting around doing the work, right? That's the important thing to also recognize here. But like, I mean, I just started a big, in terms of the beginning of the program, the response handling aspect of it and having like Ori as a coach in there and having someone who could help me work through my deals and learning how the structure of deals, how you should present them to people for agency stuff like that. Like I closed deals in the first month that I had like in the pipeline and stuff that were kind of far away, but like I was able to close the deals because of the advice and the guidance that I got in Client Ascension. I started out the end of January, like February is really like the first month that I was in. And I probably closed like one deal in February for a couple $1,000 or something. Like maybe I got 3 or 5 grand or something. But I mean, it's only been, so what is that? February, March, April, and now it's May, right? And now
Yeah.
I'm at like this month so far, I'm at 18,000 in
Wow.
revenue, and I have another deal. I'd say I'm gonna hit 25K this month.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that's, I would say that, like all that has to do with just like the work that I was doing here from the VSLs, from the cold emails, from the ability to have deals, work with people. I've actually gotten like a few referrals from other members in Client Ascension who have led me over. Another thing that's happened is one of my big clients that I landed, he has a pretty decent sized like e-commerce brand, and I've connected with other service providers in Client Ascension that are now working for this brand. So like I'm handing off referral deals to people in Client Ascension. I'm getting referral deals handed back over to me. So yeah, I mean, ultimately it was like a progression. Like each month I'm growing and growing. My target right now is to get to 50K a month recurring revenue. I just want to stabilize out at that because I'm also working on my e-commerce brand that I have. So the way I look at the agency for me is like cash flow and like higher. I just want to have like higher profit margin cash flow. Like I don't need it to go to like $500,000 in sales a month or anything. Like I just want a nice steady cash flow business so that I can like still keep my time focused on other stuff too.
Absolutely, bro. That was the same approach we took with building our software list kit. It's like we had the agency that funded the software development because we knew that's something that we could scale a lot further and eventually exit. So it's a really great approach that works for us, and I know a lot of other guys in the program. And it's cool to hear too, like the deals that happen inside of a program like Client Ascension, and like there's just a higher level of confidence to refer other agency owners to some of your most valuable clients because you know that that agency owner made the investment in the program, and like that alone in a way qualifies them, right? Like Client
Right.
Ascension is not a program that you could just join easily. Like you have to go through a pretty rigorous process to like get on a call and then obviously make a pretty hefty upfront payment. And so like not every agency owner is going to be able to do that. So like naturally the ones that are worth referring out to your best clients are the ones that have made it through that process. So I just think I always find it really cool to hear about how the deals and referrals kind of happen in the program. One of my questions as well is like, so like 25K this month, that's huge. What would you say has been like the biggest lever you've pulled that you learn about for the first time in the program, like Client Ascension? Has it been cold emails or was it something totally different?
It's how to communicate a deal to closing. That
Hmm.
was the big thing. Because, like, my whole kind of world in internet marketing from the beginning was like selling consumer products to people, like building email lists and selling
Yeah,
through sales pages to landing pages, never getting on the phone and like closing a deal for like a big ticket item like this. So, like, cold emails, like, I learned how to, like, that whole question I had in the beginning, like, how am I going to generate leads? I'm generating leads now. So it's like I'm still working on dialing that in, but I'm having calls, I'm closing deals, and I'm refining that. But the biggest thing that has made the biggest impact in my immediate ability to generate revenue, like where I'm at right now, has been how, like the structure on how to close deals, like how to send the emails, how to, what to do in the first phone call, then what to do in between the first phone call to the second phone call, where to close them, when to close them. Normally, like what I would have done in the past is try to sell the shit out of somebody like through an email. I just would have been like, oh, here, I'm going to give you all this crap in an email. Like, this is all the stuff that you should do. Like, actually, I learned this like right when I first came in. My success coach was like, don't ever try to sell in the email. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, get them on the phone. So this, to me, this has been like a big learning curve for like how to close agency clients, right? And it makes total sense. I had some referral deals that came through from like outside of the program, but like the ability to close those referral deals was because I moved them through the right structure and process rather than what I would have done before, which was like laid out some big ass thing about how they should work with me and what they're going to get and everything else and the price and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
which now I know, like, don't do that. Like, just, get them on the phone and just even the structure of how you guys, like, right in the beginning, I saw how you close the deal through the Panda doc. It's like, this is still hard for me to get my head wrapped around from like a marketing perspective. It's like there's no sales page. I'm just like sending them the contract and they're putting their contract, like their info in. Like it works, you
Yeah,
know?
dude, it's hilarious. It's funny. My brother's like getting into e-commerce too, and he's like, "Do you use Shopify?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "What do you use?" I'm like, "Stripe." He's like, "Where's your checkout hosted?" I'm like, "It's not. Like,
Like,
you
yeah,
just send the invoice. Like,
yeah,
there's no formal checkout process for agency services. Rarely, at least."
yeah. I mean,
So
that's to me that like that is a huge shift from what I was thinking I needed to have. And it took so much unnecessary work off my plate in terms of like okay, yeah, I need a landing page that's good with the call booking thing, but like I don't need this like complex sales page to sell my services. They're gonna, checkout page, this and that. So it's
Love it,
definitely
man.
working.
Yeah, you're crushing it, dude. You're crushing it. And it's awesome to talk with guys like you who like join the program and approach it the way you have with just like the learning curve and being patient with the timeline and now seeing all of those results compound. Like it's really cool to see. And so my question for you is you've probably seen this too, being in the program in the community. Like not everyone is always active, not everyone is always posting in the wins channel. There's really always like a select group of guys that you see are consistently winning. And it's because of a few things that they do. And so what are those things that you do that you believe have, helped produce the results you've produced compared to guys that join the program, go through it and don't have any change in business results? Like what are
Right.
those things that if I'm going through the program as a new student that I should focus on and make time to do because it's what's going to lead to results.
The first thing I'd say is like, I don't know what they're doing, but I know what I did, right?
Yeah.
Start the process, follow the process, and do exactly what is told of you to do in the program. Like it's easy to think you know better or to, oh, this is not that. What I do is like follow exactly what's in the program, exactly the way that you say to do it. And then I also make sure that I'm on the calls because there's so many coaching calls, right? So like I get on the calls, especially in the areas that I'm working on at that given time. Because it's like so much time in the day, but like if I'm working on something specifically in the program, I'm getting on those calls and I'm asking questions. Like I try to get on early so that I can like get in and ask the question that I need to ask. Because what I
Yep.
need is like, okay, I need to get to the other side. I'm in conversation and connection with my success coach. We have a good relationship. Like he's always there to help. I just ask the questions. And I also like make connections and talk to other members in the program. So I try to be like connected and friendly with people. And I DM people if they said something in one of the coaching calls or something, like I'll just have conversations. And there's a few other of us in the program who are like Amazon agencies. So
Yep.
we have like a little like subgroup together inside of the program where we're having calls, connecting with each other. So connect in with the community, follow the directions, go to the calls. Ultimately like it's not rocket science, just follow like what there is to do because like 20% of the people are going to produce 80% of the results in any given situation, right? And that's always going to be the case. And be part of the 20% and just go a little bit, just follow the directions. That's it.
Dude, it's so simple. The way you broke it down was perfect right there. It's literally go through the actual course content and implement the things we teach. Show up to the coaching calls, ask questions that you have that come up after going through that content. And then use the community, connect with others, especially others that are running the same business model that you're running. Because like when you join
Hmm.
Client Ascension, it's not like you join with an innovative offer. It's like there are other people that offer email marketing or cold email lead gen or Amazon services like you, and that's to your advantage, right? Because I know like in Client Ascension, one of the most popular models is email marketing for e-commerce brands, and we have like 30 or 40 guys in there and they're all
Yeah.
crushing it. So like there's enough to go around for everyone in the agency space, which a lot of people just don't realize. And so I just love like how simple and straightforward each of those pieces of advice were because it's really easy for anyone to do those things. I think and it's cool to hear from you, especially Shaun, because you've been in the marketing game for so long. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people come into the program and they go through the content and they're like, oh no, like this way is better. Or, I'm actually gonna do it this way because I think this is better. So like you didn't come in with like an ego of like I'm learning from guys that probably haven't even been in marketing as long as you have. Like you just
Yeah.
went through it, implemented, no ego, and are now obviously reaping the rewards. So I just think that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think about that. I'm just like, look, these guys have put in the work to figure out what's working now because things change. I mean, the basic fundamentals of marketing remain the same, but when it comes to internet marketing, like what works changes. So I'm like, these guys are doing what works now. Let me follow their system and get to where I need to go. I don't need to pave the way. So like back in the day, like when I first got into internet marketing, there was one course that I would say was like similar. It was very different, but it was called, I don't know if you even know who this is, but Jeff Walker's product launch formula. So like that
Oh
used to
yeah.
be like, yeah, so like that was my entryway into internet marketing. And like when I got that course, it totally changed my life. It was nowhere near as comprehensive as what you guys are doing. It was just like it's an info course, but he was pretty good. He had like coaching calls and stuff. And I ended up like selling millions of dollars through that product launch formula system of products. Like I was in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu niche.
Wow.
Like we were selling DVDs, building email lists. I was like the product launch guy. Like I was working with UFC guys, like even like Anderson Silva. We were launching products with him.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, it was crazy, bro. Like he would post one thing on his Facebook and we'd get 20,000 emails. But like what I'm saying is that course was a life changing course for me. It opened my eyes to so many things. And I would say that Client Ascension also has like opened my eyes to the agency game in a way that I never realized before, and definitely like set the framework for me to be able to crush it here too. But what I recognize is you need the framework. Like
Mm.
you can figure it out on your own, but why? Like the amount of time and energy it takes to do it. Just get it through the people who are making it happen.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and that's really cool to hear because I'm familiar with the product launch course you're talking about, and
Yeah.
yeah, I've had a couple of those for me as well. Funny enough, like Ty Lopez's SMMA
Yeah.
course was game changer for me, and like you said, it wasn't like super comprehensive. It was just getting like the exposure to that idea and that thing is possible and other people are doing it. It was just like whoa, like this is so new and exciting. But yeah, what you do with that
Yeah.
information is what counts, and it's just been cool to see you again show up in the Wins channel, show up on an interview like this, and just continue to get results. So, last question I have for you, brother, is where can our audience find you online, follow you, connect with you, learn more about your agency and the services you provide outside of Client Ascension Slack? Because I always say if you're in
Yeah.
Client Ascension, the best place to connect with other students is by doing an introduction through DMs, really.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So www.youramazonpro.com. All my handles, everything across everywhere is Your Amazon Pro. So that's it. Like, and
Oh,
if you
nice.
go to youramazonpro.com, then you'll see me there, and you can, if you want to have a call, you set up a call with me and we can talk.
That's awesome. That's a big benefit of being in the game for a long time is you get some of the best domains and social
You're
media
right.
handles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Hey,
Yeah.
dude, thank you for the time and for sharing more about your story and things you've been working on and just how you've found success in a program like Client Ascension. I always find it really fascinating to hear. Like it's always the same. It's always watch the content, listen to what they say, go to the coaching calls, connect with other students, and you can be a part of the 20% that gets 80% of the results, like Shaun said. So keep crushing it, brother. I'm excited to see
Thank
you
you.
hit that 50K wildly
Yeah.
important goal pretty soon here. And if there's anything we can do to help you get there even faster, just let us know.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Andre. Thank you for everything you do, bro.